As a Belgian fan of Cyberpunk 2077, I became interested in the lore of how my country and its neighbors are faring in the Cyberpunk universe. I noticed there were no videos on YouTube about this, and I decided then and there that such a thing is a crime, and something should be done about it. So here I am with my video for anyone that's interested in how the Benelux is doing in the year of 2077. I will go over Belgium, the Netherlands and Luxembourg, respectively in that order. I'm gonna discuss the current state of affairs and how it winded up like that. If you want to skip to a specific country, the timestamp is available in the description. But before that, some general information about the region in total. Benelux, or the Benelux Union as it's called, still has a lot of similarities to our current time. Borders have not really moved, we pretty much all still speak our native languages, on top of English, with the odd local word or two. Usually, we are a very polite, friendly region for foreigners, except for when it comes to Germans. The European Union is still kind of a thing in 2077, but it's named the European Community. I am going to shorten this to the EC for the rest of the video, so keep that in mind. Currency is not a problem, as we all use the euro dollar in the EC. If you attempt to pay with any foreign currency though, that is seen as a huge crime and you'll get a visit from the police.
FBI, open up!
Rail and road links through all three countries is very good and well maintained, even though European policy is to persuade people onto the public transport systems. All three countries are desperately short of living space, in spite of the declining populations. This is due to the changes in physical size of the Netherlands and the amount of land in Belgium that is being used by the EC machine. More about this specifically later. Luxembourg has always been short of living space, and with the success of its financial institutions, it has attracted a lot of corporate personnel to swell the population to record proportions. The Low Countries are governed by the United Benelux Congress, which is made up of representatives from all three countries. The number of congressmen for each country is in direct proportion to the size of their population. Each one holds its own elections whereby the population chooses its congressmen out of the candidates put forward by all the political parties. The benefit of a combined administration are less cost, better communications between the three countries, and a united voice that is more easily heard in the corridors of the EC. Now that we got general information out of the way, let's start with Belgium specifically. As Brussels serves as the capital for the EC, Belgium had to give up a lot of land for the infrastructure to them. And the huge superport complex that built up around the original port of Ostende. You heard that right, no Antwerp or Rotterdam, Ostende. This superport is the main port for trade into and out of the entirety of the EC. It takes up all of Belgium's coastline and extends about 15 kilometers inland. It also has a huge airfield that makes this port more than capable to house the largest ships, aircrafts, trains and the like. This is why Ostende became linked to everyone else in the EC and even beyond by numerous rail and road links that sprawl over Belgium like a giant web, cutting their way through every suburb in almost every town and dividing, tearing apart every natural feature of the landscape. Throughout the years, the cities of Brussels, Antwerp and Ghent collided with each other to make a true EC metropolis under the name of Brussels. This urban complex is home to the European Council and all multinational corporations, like Arasaka, Militech, Biotechnica and the likes. They maintain a large presence here, and many countries got a consulate or embassy in the area, mainly to influence the EC's decisions. This means most of the population are foreigners, and as a result, although EC controlled, security is also supplied by corporations who feel the need to use their own people to guarantee the safety of their staff. Needless to say, this causes friction, but most people agree that Belgium's Department of Defense has the last word. This means the average Belgian is often trampled underfoot by the political maneuverings that happen in and around the corridors of the EC. Brussels is mainly split into corporate and diplomatic areas. This leaves almost no space for any tourism. But for those that do stop, they find good hotels, good restaurants, and plenty of diversions to keep them occupied. The Netherlands. The Netherlands are in pretty bad shape, forced to abandon some of its land to the rising sea level, and retreat behind higher and thicker seawalls to save the rest of its coastlines. In the Zeeland area, this meant the seawalls moved inland and the outlying land was abandoned. As the sea reclaimed this land, lots of small islands and sandbanks were created, making that area dangerous, like anything bigger than rowboats and hovercraft. This is why the amazing port of Rotterdam fell off the map. However, many smugglers like this area, and many packages enter Europe over the seawall in the Netherlands. Now, it's not a complete loss, because as the Dutch lost land in one area, they continued the reclamation of the north. And now the entire land inland of the Afsluitdijk is dry and almost totally built over. In fact, the whole western area of the country is one big urban complex. with a large industrial port at its southern end. Most of the Netherlands' bulk trade and all of its fuel enter through this port, and accordingly, security is heavy. The rest of the country is taken up with producing food and flowers for the export market. The flowers are a luxury item for highly profitable trade. Amsterdam is still the country's capital and is renowned for its culture that it maintained from our time. Luxembourg. Luxembourg has managed to remain relatively unchanged for the last 20 years or so. Apart from the gradual urbanization of most of the country, its primary industry is banking, and it's commonly referred to as the Switzerland of Europe. With its no questions policy and its uncooperative attitudes towards official investigation and questions, the main rule of banking in Luxembourg is as long as you stay clean in their country, they don't care where your money comes from, or what do you do with it. Needless to say, many EC slush funds reside in Luxembourg, as it's considered to be both more secure and cheaper than other well-known financial safe havens. The country itself is very clean and well cared for, with seemingly no poverty or discontent visible to any visiting foreigner. Through this, that Luxembourg exports its unwanted to other EC countries who take them in and house them in payment for financial services. Although there's not much known about the Benelux area in the Cyberpunk universe, I thought it was really interesting how they made this prediction of the future. I think they give quite a realistic take on what the future may bring to these countries. As Brussels is also the European Union's capital, sea levels are rising and that might become a problem for the Dutch. Luxembourg is its own thing in its own right. Although, I find it really unrealistic that Ostende of all places would grow to be the biggest port in Europe. I'm sure the port of Rotterdam would find a way to stay in the lead, and if not, the port of Antwerp would take over rapidly. On the other hand, I can see how it's possible that Belgium gets its quote-unquote web-like infrastructure of rail and road links. Brussels is already connected very well throughout the EU, and I can only think that would improve. Now, what do you think? Is this a realistic presentation of a possible future? Do you think this will happen with the Benelux in the next 50 years? I'd love to hear it in the comments. Please like if you like the video, subscribe, at least think about it. I post videos like these every single week, reviews, lore videos, everything gaming. You're at the right address right here. I hope to see you next time. Goodbye.